We got oh so close last time, but we did not quite get all the way to finishing the recode statement, so rather than rush the end, we have kicked it into a third part. These mini-series are amazing. So, as we left off, we had set up our recode statement where we were recoding variable v5.1 by collapsing categories 1 through 5 into a new value of 0. We were collapsing categories 6 through 9 into a new value of 1. We were taking values 97 through 99 and setting them to system missing because these are the values associated with missing data in our variables. And we were taking all this and putting it into a new variable which we were labeling v5.1 underscore recode, and then we have the execute statement underneath of it. And so if I highlight these two lines of code and I press Control R, we'll see that in my output table or my output window, it gives me the code down here. I'm not seeing any errors on the screen, and again, this is always wonderful. And so I'm going to go into my data file, and you'll see here at the bottom of my data file the new, and you should see it in your own data file at the bottom there, the new variable v5.1 underscore recode. And so now we have our newly created variable. And again, what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to run a little bit of a check really quick to make sure that this recode was, that it did what we wanted it to do. This recode was successful in the sense that it took an old variable and created a new variable, but there's an additional step of a check that we want to do to make sure that it did it correctly. And so to do that, we can run a frequency distribution of our two variables. Again, freq is the shorthand for running a frequency in SPSS. So v5.1 and v5.1 underscore recode are our two variables. And I press Control R here. And so we'll see here that we've got the original variable frequency distribution up top, our newly recoded one down here at the bottom. So one of the first checks that we can do to make a quick spin of it is check out the missing. So up here we had 103 cases that said don't know. We had 5 that said refused and 4 that have are coded as missing, I guess straight up. And so 103 plus 5 is 108 plus 4 is 112. And so we would want to see 112 down here. And indeed, we see 112 down here. We can come back up here and we can see, did we get these variables collapsed the way we would want to? And so to confirm that, we can go here and I'm just going to open up my calculator really quick here. So we're not making any funny math errors. So I've got 87 plus 57 plus 17 plus 11 equals 172. And indeed, we have 172. Our total is 2149. Our total is 2149. If this value and this value are the same as the values that appear up here, then this value and this value are by definition the same values too. And so we have confirmed that our recode worked successfully the way that we had hoped that it would, and that we kept all of the cases that we wanted to keep in the data file there. And so that is looking at recoding data in order to handle missingness as well as to sometimes collapse variables in and of themselves. Now, one thing to note is that what we've looked at here is looking at reducing the number of categories. The same thing applies, though, if we had a quantitative variable. So if you had a variable such as income that went from $0 up to $10,000, and any and every value in between, you would be able to recode that using a similar logic to what you're introducing here. The key would be you would want to alter what your old values were and what new values those it's being assigned to. And so that would be the way of converting or adapting this logic to apply to a quantitative variable. And to see an example of that logic in action, rather than just talking about it hypothetically, we can look in the data file to see if there are any variables there that we might be able to use. I'm not sure that this data file would have income necessarily, but in scrolling through it, I was able to, I see here that we've got this birth year variable. And so we can do a quick check on that. So year of birth, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to type in freak, again, my shorthand for frequency. I'm going to paste the variable name. I'm going to put a period at the end of that command and Control R. And so I'm looking at this and it says birth year, and I am not sure what to make of those from a values perspective, other than to say that this is potentially, again, this data file is from 1992, and so it is not inconceivable that these are just the last 2 digits of these people's birth dates, birth years, which is to say that the lowest digit is from 1903 and the highest digit is from 1976, which would put people right around 16 years old in this data set. The youngest person at around 16 years old in this data set. And so this makes sense if we want to think about it that way. And so we can use this data, though, to create blocks of values. And so we'll do a recode of this. Recode birth year from quantitative into categorical. And so the way we would do that, again, is we would want to start with our function of recode. We want to specify the variable we wish to recode, which is our year of birth variable, YRBIRTH. And now we want to specify the range of variables, the range of values we wish to recode. And so I have no real anything in here. This is more of a demonstration than it is anything substantive. So we'll just go ahead and create a few variables, a few cut points here. And again, our key here is to make sure that we keep all values included. And so we want to make sure that our lowest value is specified. If you are not sure what your lowest value is, but you know that it's a valid value, SPSS will allow you to use the term lowest value, just lowest, and that tells the program to go from the lowest value that is there. And we'll go ahead and create this first category up through a value of 30. So these are people that were born before 1930. And so we want to set this equal to 1. And then the next one we're going to pick up is going to start in 1931. And we'll go ahead and we'll run that. I'm just going to scroll down through here to see what my different values look like. We'll go ahead and run that through I got it out of place. We'll go and run that through 1950, and we'll set that equal to 2. We'll go 51 through, let's go with 63 is equal to 3. And 64 through highest, and again, if I'm not sure what it is, but I know it's a valid value, I can type in the word highest, and SPSS will go through the highest value there. And I'm going to set that equal to 4. And now I'm going to create a new variable, which is YR birth underscore cat for category. Now, one of the things that is important to do when you collapse a quantitative variable into categories is you really need to assign value labels to it. And so we'll go ahead and assign value labels. And to do that, we need to give it the prompt of value labels. We then need to tell it what variable to assign value labels to, which is the new variable we're creating, year birth underscore cat. And so we now need to give it what value is it and what label are we associating with that value. So for value 1, we're going to enter value the numeral 1, and then we're going to use double quotations, and we're going to say through 1930. And then double quotations, 2, which is the next value, and we're going to say 1931 through 1950, 3, 1951 through 1963, and 4, 1964 through top, and then a period at the end. And this is going to specify what our value labels should be here. And then we want to run an execute function below that. We're going to select all of these and hit run. You'll see that no error popped up until we can run a frequency of our new variable to see what we created. and you'll see that we have our newly created variable here with the value labels associated with it.